Hi guys. It's funny, the sun's a bit. Let's have a look. Sun, go away. Don't think it's gonna listen to me. There we are. That was better. So, guys, my kid. I was actually supposed to be with my kids, but my wife has dropped them off to their auntie's house. So, I've got a good hour to kill before I go and collect them. So, well, why not do a live? Come on. So, there was just quickly, I wonder if I can find it. On Facebook, I posted a couple of, on our Defending Elvis, I posted a couple of Priscilla videos. I mean, this live stream is concerning the Memphis Mafia, Red West, things like that. It's another silly AI video. I find them interesting. I find them quite funny. So this one is headed Elvis is pure evil, which he obviously is not. So I thought, come on then. Let's do it. So does anyone know what age did Red West die? Yeah. So obviously a lot of the facts are always jumbled up. Most of the things that will be in this AI video will be bullshit. When did Red West die? Let's have a look. So he died. Let's have a look. It's funny. It gives me Fred West. Red West die. Right. He died on July the 18th, 2017. You know, God rest his soul. You know. I do believe. Yeah, he was 81. It says West died on the 18th of July, age 81, from an aortic aneurysm at Baptist Memorial Hospital in his native Memphis. His death occurred less than 2 months after the death of his cousin, actor Sonny West. And in May 2017, his funeral and burial at the Memorial Park Cemetery was held on the 24th of July in Memphis. That's interesting. I wonder who attended. Someone's told me that Marty Lacker died at a very similar time. Is that right, guys? It's a bit of a morbid topic, but I mention it because this video is entitled, has a big couple of pictures of Red West. Let me just make sure you can see what I'm looking at. Yeah, you can. So hi, Carolyn. I do like the ones that defend Elvis. Well, I don't know if this one's going to, but yeah, we'll soon find out. I haven't watched this. So who are we talking about? She was 82 years old. She was a lovely human being. All right, you're talking about someone. All right, sorry, I've missed your comment. Sorry, guys. Really sorry, guys. I was at a funeral, family gathering from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. yesterday, and have graduation party today. Right. Oh, that's sad. That's sad. Yeah, but that was a good age, wasn't it, guys? So, obviously we've discussed it a million times. A lot of the things I say, I repeat. I feel that I have to. I just think that we're always trying to keep the new people up to date. And I think that when we get new subscribers, new people joining our channel, I want to go through all the same stories with them, whether it's Priscilla, Memphis Mafia, Smiths, EFM, doesn't matter what it is, Sally Hoddle, could be anything. I like to refresh everything. So you will find on our channel, every sort of 3 or 4 months, we refresh everything, we rehash everything. Now, when I was a kid growing up, I liked Red West. He appealed to me. Obviously, he was a good actor, wasn't he? He was in some good films. I do believe that he loved Elvis. I really do. That sun shining on the camera is really annoying. Let's have a look. Does it make any difference which way I position it? If I move over, probably not. It's pretty annoying. No, I don't think we're going to... I think the sun is setting. So that's just irritating. Maybe the sun will move. I could glue something on the window, couldn't I? It doesn't matter because we're going to watch a video. So, we know how we feel, guys. This book, you can just about see it, is a betrayal. A betrayal. How you going, my friend? Right, I did watch your video. Jesus is coming. Tell me your name again. It's actually, I know your name. Yeah, I need some curtains, mate. I did watch your video. I thought it was pretty good. Your first attempt. Just so you know, guys, I know that the title isn't Elvis related, but Jesus is coming. Let's have a look. Has a YouTube channel, and he did his first Elvis video. Scott did his first Elvis video. Yeah, so guys, subscribe to him. I thought it was very good. Scott, I liked it. I thought it was interesting. I liked it. Be proud, my friends. Be proud. We love promoting new channels here. We love it. Hi, Terry. Terry, another one, has a channel. Matt at Hillbilly Cat. Richie Boy, Memphis. Actually, I haven't messaged Richie Boy. Shall I let him know we're here? Richie Boy has his channel, Memphis Richie. So let's just, so unfortunately I don't have time to start messaging everyone. I'll quickly tell Richie Boy. Right. So actually, so we're going to play this AI video. I have about 45 minutes. I want to put, let's just have a look. We'll just see what we think of it, guys. You know, Red West, Sunny West, Dave Hebler obviously wrote this book. I think the whole thing was a disgrace. I know, believe it or not, there are parts of this book that are actually good. Hi, Dan. How you going? It's not all bad, that book. It's just the trashy parts in it are upsetting. Dave Hebler, the last living member of the threesome that I think betrayed Elvis. We all know about the phone call with Red West. Dave Hebler won't say sorry. In fact, I don't really think any of them properly said sorry. Someone told me that Sonny West did show regret. I do think these people loved Elvis. I do. There is another side to the story. It wasn't straightforward. I do believe that, you know, Elvis could be difficult. He had a temper on him. There was a problem with overprescription of medication because he was so sick, so unwell, couldn't sleep, had insomnia, you know, stomach problems, high blood pressure, glaucoma, many other things. That must have been tough to deal with. So, hi, Karen. I haven't had a chance to message everyone, which bugs me because I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll play the video and I'll message a few people. Yeah, obviously. I wonder if Rick's having a good time over in Cyprus. In Paphos. We all miss Rick. We love Rick, don't we, guys? Let's tell Debbie. Let's quickly just tell Tony. Let's have a look. Tony, Nicola. I mean, you guys, you message each other, guys. You can, if you guys message each other, that way you can just tell each other that we're live. It will make my life so much easier because it literally takes me 20 minutes to message everyone. So it would really help me. I've just messaged Matthew at Hillbilly. And then we've got obviously Joanne and Julie. Exchange each other's Facebooks and WhatsApp and emails, and then when Louis goes live, it will just speed. Yeah, it's the sun's in our eyes, Nicola. The sun is in our eyes, but don't worry, I'm playing a video, so it's going to be all right. Right, so I've just messaged Nicola, Tony, and Linda. So let's have a look. Who else? Who have we forgotten? Okay, so what we're going to do, we are going to play the video, and I'll message people while it's playing. I've never watched this before. It's concerning the Memphis Mafia. I don't hate these people, you know, they made a mistake. I think they regretted it for the rest of their lives. They got a lot of hate. The Memphis Mafia got a lot of hate. Dave Hebler still does. Hi, Linda. We're going to give it a go with this AI video. So what I'm going to do is while we're here, let's have a look if we can find it. Oh, someone's just pulled up. It's my daughter. Hello, daughter.
Well, you know, I know that we weren't close. It was a small school. We knew each other.
For decades, he kept Elvis's secret. He was there through the rise, the chaos, and the fall. Now, after years of silence, Red West finally tells the story Elvis never could. At 81, the king's closest bodyguard reveals haunting truths of fame, fear, and a friendship torn apart. This isn't just a confession, it's a final act of love and warning. Stay tuned as we reveal this startling confession. Red West's confession. Red West understood the price of silence. For many years, he bore the burden of what it meant to serve, protect, and oversee the most renowned man on the planet, Elvis.
So, just out of interest, how many of you were fans of Red West growing up? You know, me growing up 70s, 80s, 90s, I always liked Red West. I wasn't really that aware of this book. Not really. Yeah, it wasn't a book that I wanted to buy. I watched Red West films. Yeah, we've all heard the story where he protected Elvis. So it's a funny one, isn't it, guys? Because we grow up loving certain people, certain members of the Memphis Mafia. Like, I always liked Jerry Schilling. I used to like Priscilla. I liked Priscilla. It wasn't till I got older, till I started defending. Then I realized things were different. So
this was more than just a friend. He was an employer, a daily obligation, and at times, a mystery. Red had witnessed it all. Late-night phone calls, cross-country tours, and backstage meltdowns that no fan would ever witness. At the age of 81...
So, backstage meltdowns, you know, obviously Elvis was heavily prescribed. You know, come on, let's face it, guys. The last few years, bloody tough for Elvis. Very sick, couldn't sleep, no energy, overworked. Anyone that was around that struggled. But a lot of these people that were around Elvis had drink problems, drug problems. Obviously, they wanted a party. I hear they didn't accept Ginger Alden. She was like a newbie. They all loved Linda Thompson. You know, it's complicated.
Red found himself without the energy to sugarcoat the reality of what it meant to safeguard Elvis. Elvis Presley didn't merely have bodyguards, he had a private army. Yet among them, Red West occupied a distinctive role, not due to being the strongest or the loudest, but because...
Yeah, it's funny that they say private army, but I said this on the last video. Elvis was the most famous man on the planet. He needed 24-hour protection. He had to live his life at night because he couldn't go anywhere during the day because he was mobbed. So yes, he had 24-hour people around him to protect him.
Because Elvis had faith in him to speak the truth, and that was not always a simple task. Red recalled that he was demanding, not unkind, but he expected loyalty. He expected...
Of course he did. Of course he was demanding. They worked for him. Yeah, Elvis worked really hard. Yeah, traveled a lot. So, of course, Elvis expected and demanded a lot.
You to protect him, of course, but also to understand him, and not many truly did. Working for Elvis was more than just a job. It was a way of life. There were no set hours or guaranteed days off. Red recounted days that kicked...
Well, I agree with that, but it was a bloody good laugh. These people lived like celebrities mixed with the most famous celebrities, yeah? So they had a bloody good time. One thing I do notice that when I watch the Memphis Mafia interviews, they loved their life, loved it. Unfortunately, they all become a bunch of whingers, didn't they? Now, not Charlie Hodge, not Larry Geller. I liked Joe. Joe is in my good books. Jerry, not bad. But the rest of them, guys, they're a bunch of whingers. Seriously.
Kicked off in the dead of night, when Elvis would suddenly feel the urge to ride his motorcycle through the desert or play racquetball until the break of dawn. Red noted that they wouldn't refuse. Rather...
And loved it. And loved it. So when he bought them all cars, when they all had motorbikes, when they all had horses, when they were traveling on the converted bus, they loved it.
They had adapted to his schedule. Whenever Elvis was awake, they were awake as well. Despite the...
Oh no! When Elvis was awake, they were awake. Oh my God, that must have been so painful.
Demanding hours, Red never voiced any complaints. He spoke of them with a peculiar blend of fatigue and pride. Serving Elvis was not merely a job, it was about being part of something unique, even sacred.
That's more like it. That's more like it. Unique, sacred. They were very, very lucky. Very, very lucky. Yeah?
Red
Sorry guys, this was playing.
Reflected on Elvis's erratic behavior. He noted that one moment Elvis would be filled with laughter and playfulness like a child. and the next he would become quiet, gazing into the distance, absorbed in his own thoughts. Red understood that it was best not to intrude. Instead, he would remain nearby, allowing Elvis to navigate his feelings on his own. Red recalled that he carried not only weapons for protection, but also the emotional burdens that came with the territory. There were moments when Elvis would express his frustrations, shed tears, or even unleash his anger, and Red was among the select few permitted to witness those vulnerable aspects of him. Red remarked on Elvis's remarkable generosity, noting that if someone mentioned their car was having issues, they would find a new one waiting for them by the next morning. If a person admired his watch, it would unexpectedly become theirs. He
Sorry guys, my son's just getting some stuff. Right, have fun.
Genuinely gave from the heart. However, Red felt that deep down, Elvis was giving parts of himself, fragments he struggled to manage. However, collaborating with Elvis demanded more than just being there. It required absolute discretion. Red was always on high alert. Fans would go to great lengths to get close, and Red had to be prepared for anything. Letters filled with threats, women rushing the stage, and even imposters posing as staff sneaking into hotels.
I think that sounds about right. Now, the thing I love about these AI things is that the videos in the background, you know, like right now, look at that black and white footage. Yeah, I love that's the one good thing about AI videos, that they compile together loads of great footage and pictures.
They had to examine each room, every vehicle, and all the back entrances. People believed it was merely about glamour, but in reality it involved immense pressure every single day. Yet behind the curtain, Elvis could be surprisingly reserved, even with those closest to him. There were days when he wouldn't speak to anyone at all. On other occasions, he would engage, inquiring about Red's wife or contemplating topics like mortality, divinity, or celebrity.
See, I heard Elvis loved to talk to his staff, to the Memphis Mafia, to anybody, to the people around him, the cook, everyone. He would sit down and just have a chat with them, you know, tell me about your problems, and he'd be an ear, he would give them advice. Elvis loved giving advice.
Once noted that Elvis had a mind that never ceased to whirl, and in those quiet moments, that inner thoughts would spill out. Red recalled that he was contemplative in ways that often went unnoticed. He cared deeply about his fans and questioned if he was still good enough.
That's Elvis. Cared deeply about his fans and questioned if he was still good enough. Insecure, but at the same time very confident.
Really surprised me. After thrilling countless fans who applauded his name, he would exit the stage and ask if he did all right, as if he sincerely didn't know.
But don't we love that? Doesn't that endear us to him?
Red esteemed him greatly, not just for his remarkable talent, but also for his transparency. He said that Elvis had the potential to turn into a tyrant given the power he possessed. However, he did not. He had his flaws naturally, but he sincerely aimed to be a good individual.
I think calling him a tyrant, someone that could turn into a tyrant, I think that's very unfair. He was human. He had a bit of a temper. Yeah. He was under a lot of pressure. Massively overworked. So he probably found it hard to trust everyone. Everyone was after his money. Everyone wanted to meet Elvis, be near Elvis. Could you imagine how difficult it was for Elvis to feel comfortable around people? He didn't really know what agenda they had. Were they genuine?
However, being close to such immense power brought its own set of challenges. There were moments when Red disagreed with Elvis's choices, especially regarding the company he kept. Elvis was susceptible to influence, and Red observed how certain individuals only appeared when it served their interests.
I think that's very fair. I do think Red West looked out for Elvis. I do. You know, in the earlier years, in the early 70s as well, through the 60s, a little bit in the 50s. Yeah. Elvis changed as he got older. I think when he was younger, obviously, he loved the ladies. I think as Elvis got older, it was different. So Red would try, I think, from what I've read, he tried to help Elvis. He tried to advise Elvis. Obviously, he was worried about the abuse of prescription medication. He must have known Elvis was in a lot of pain, couldn't sleep, a lot of discomfort. He never talked about it. He never talked about Elvis being so sick. He talked about Elvis taking too many pills, drugs. But I've never heard an interview where Red West said Elvis had all these different medical problems, health problems, insomnia, anxiety, all these types of things. Never heard it once. Have any of you ever heard Red West talking about how unwell and sick Elvis was?
Red noted that he was consistently searching for someone to trust, and at times he ended up selecting the wrong individuals. This protectiveness occasionally puts Red at odds with others in their circle. Yet he never wavered in his belief that his loyalty lay with Elvis, not the surrounding machinery. He recognized the person behind the legend.
Sorry guys, my son's looking for some food. But just dig it all out, see what's there, Jim.
Prompting him to finally express his opinions. Red shared in one of his last interviews that there comes a time when you understand
look in that cupboard, see what's in there.
And that if the truth isn't spoken, the story fades away with you. And Elvis deserves more than just myths. He didn't wish to tarnish Elvis's reputation.
Why don't you just walk to Morrison's and get some food? Yeah. Sorry, my son's getting some food. Why don't you just walk with Ruby? You know that I've got a bit of cash in a cup. You could go to Morrison's and get a couple of pizzas or something. Do you want to do that or not? I've got a tenner in that cup. Do you want to do that or not? So I'm just talking to my son. Yeah, if you do, there's a tenner in the cup. Just go to Morrison's, get a few bits and bobs with it, and come back. Probably be a nice walk, Joe. All right, sorry guys. That's just my 15-year-old son. Yeah.
Instead, he aimed for people to grasp the burden Elvis bore, the overwhelming pressure of being everything to everyone, the isolation that comes with being idolized yet not genuinely understood, the anxiety that if he faltered, the world would turn against him. Red's admission was neither theatrical nor exaggerated. It was subdued, the voice of a man who had dwelled in the presence of greatness, witnessing both its brilliance and its shadows.
So I'm going to be honest with you guys. Dave Hebler, I watched his interviews. I've seen a few. Obviously, he was on. I'm trying to remember the shows I watched him on. Elvis and the Ultimate Fan Channel, was he on that? I definitely watched him being interviewed by Spar Guy, I think it was. What was the other one? There's a couple of interviews I've watched with Dave Hebler. I'm trying to remember. Was he on Stefan's show, Artist on Record? I think he was. I just find him, he comes across arrogant. He doesn't want to say sorry. Seems very angry, quite touchy. But I also, you know, my heart goes out to him because he's in his 80s. Yeah. He's had 40 plus years of hate. Yeah. He's had a lot of hate mail, hate emails. He's had a lot of stick for being, you know, doing this book. He's given us his reasons. He blames the publishers. He blames Steve Dunleavy. He says he tried to help Elvis with his drug problem. No mention of how sick he was, that he needed prescription medication. I struggle with Dave Hebler. And I don't hate him or anything. I'm not against him. He really doesn't have people skills. When I listen to see his interviews on YouTube, his vibe is uncomfortable. He's uncomfortable to watch. Yeah. So I don't know what to say, guys. You know, a man in his 80s, you want to give it, you know, you don't want to give him too much of a hard time, but at the same time, you want to defend Elvis. So you're trying to get that balancing act where you're being respectful, but they're in their 80s, yeah, which has happened recently, hasn't it, guys? So it's hard to get that balance.
He stated he has no regrets about protecting Elvis. What he grieves is his inability to save him. Red West has always said that he wasn't just a bodyguard to Elvis, but a friend, meaning that before the roaring audiences and the gleaming platinum records, before the dazzling rhinestone outfits and the bright lights of Vegas, there was simply Memphis and two young boys searching for their identity within it.
Guys, they were close friends. They were very close. Obviously, he was there in the 50s. Red would drive him around to the gigs, wouldn't he? I think Elvis used to like to drive. They would take it in turns and stuff. And they say that this was a period where they were taking pills to keep them awake because they had these all-night drives. You know, we know the story about one of the vehicles catching fire. And, you know, if you look at that picture there, a very young-looking Red West, these are the pictures that, when I see them, I'm like, you loved Elvis. You did love him. You were like, he was like a brother to you. But then it makes me go, so why did you betray him? For money, for revenge, for bitterness. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. The loyalty went out the window. It's so sad.
Friendship in Memphis. Red West first encountered Elvis Presley in the early 1950s at Humes High School. Red was a rugged, athletic teenager, built like a linebacker, recognized for his strength as much as his unwavering loyalty. In contrast, Elvis was shy, courteous, and distinctly unique. He wore vibrant clothing, moved with a quiet grace, and held his guitar as if it were a part of him. Red immediately recognized that Elvis didn't quite belong, and he respected that. While other boys ridiculed Elvis for his slicked-back hairstyle or flamboyant attire, Red perceived something more profound, a sense of confidence, even amidst mockery. One day, when a group of students attempted to intimidate Elvis, it was Red who intervened to protect him. That significant moment ignited a friendship that would endure for more than 20 years. Red once remarked that they came from the same background. He noted that they didn't have much, but they understood one another and always supported each other. After graduating from high school, their journeys took different turns for a while. Red enlisted in the Marines, while Elvis pursued a career in music. However, when Elvis achieved fame with his hit song Heartbreak Hotel in 1956, one of the first people he reached out to was Red. He preferred the company of someone who understood his past over the unfamiliar faces that fame brought.
I think that is let me just see your comments, guys. I think I've messaged most people. So I do think that is a standout thing about Red. Yeah. And Elvis and certain people like, Lamar Fike, Marty Lacker, Joe Esposito. Eventually Sonny West came a little bit later, didn't he? Jerry Schilling met him very young as well. I think Jerry Schilling might have been only about 14 when he met Elvis. I think they used to play football together. I do think that the people that Elvis met in the 50s, even before he got famous, and then again in the late 50s in the army, I think these people, I do feel that Elvis felt that he could trust people that were around in the early years. More, people came later, didn't they? I think Al Strada, isn't it? Dave Hebler came later. A few others came later. But generally, Elvis wanted to feel comfortable with certain people, didn't he? And he wasn't great with new people. He wasn't great with new people, from what I've read. Yeah. So let's keep going, guys. Here goes.
Marked the beginning of a professional relationship. In those formative years, Red was not merely a bodyguard. He became a trusted confidant, a supportive wingman, and a shield against the turmoil that constantly surrounded Elvis. They shared countless moments together, traveling, recording, filming, and enjoying life at Graceland. Red was present during Elvis's late-night jam sessions, spontaneous road trips, and moments of introspection. Yet their relationship was not solely about the glitz and glamour of the entertainment world. Red and Elvis cultivated a friendship characterized by inside jokes, comfortable silences, and a deep, unspoken connection. They would engage in lengthy conversations about everything from cars and women to faith and family. They sparred in karate, playfully teased one another like siblings, and provided support during challenging times. Red reminisced in a subsequent interview, stating Elvis was a blast. He had an outrageous sense of humor and enjoyed playing pranks, always striving to bring laughter to others. However, he also had a deep side. He would often express his thoughts about his mother, his faith, and ponder whether he was genuinely maximizing his life.
So I'm just trying to remember, guys. So I'm just getting your comments up here. Didn't Red's mother or father, I think it was father, die the day after Gladys or the day before? Guys, do any of you know that? So that when Elvis went to the funeral parlour, obviously devastated at the death of his mum, Red was there. Is that true? Is it Red? Was it Red or was it Sonny? Trying to think. Obviously, they were cousins, weren't they? So you tell me, guys.
He was a perpetual thinker. A key aspect of their relationship was their shared loyalty. Red was never hesitant to voice the truth, even when Elvis preferred to avoid it. In the early days, Elvis, despite being surrounded by puppets, appreciated that honesty. As Elvis's popularity soared, so did the entourage around him. Known as the Memphis Mafia, this loyal group of friends, bodyguards, and staff orbited Elvis's life. However, Red maintained a unique status within that circle. He was one of the original members, one of the few who remembered Elvis before he became a star. However, fame has a tendency to
Yeah, this is right. So thank you, Karen. So it was Red. I thought it was. I remember doing a video about it. So this guy here, please tell me his name. He's another one, isn't he? The guy with the white shirt on. Please remind me of his name. I've completely forgotten it. Like I said, these pictures and video clips are fantastic on these AI videos.
challenge even the strongest relationships. Over time, Red noticed shifts, not only in Elvis's lifestyle but also in his essence. The late nights grew darker, the laughter diminished more swiftly, and the trust that once flowed easily began to solidify. Although Red stayed close to Elvis, the man he once regarded as like a brother started to drift away. Yet Red never ceased to care. Amidst all the highs and lows, the tours and victories, he clung.
That's a great picture. Look at that picture, guys. Look at it. Red looks like about 18 years old. Come on, let's guess the age, guys. What do you reckon? Both of them 19? I would say both 19. What do you think, guys?
To the boy he encountered in Memphis, the one who strummed his guitar in the school corridor, the one who didn't require bodyguards or entourages, just a companion. In one of his last interviews, Red spoke softly about the significance of that friendship. He reflected that they had grown up side by side. They had made their share of mistakes together and experienced things that no one else had witnessed. He expressed that he loved him deeply, truly. He also believed that, in his own way, he had been loved back. Life in Memphis. To the outside world, Elvis Presley appeared to live a life of royalty, surrounded by opulence, admiration, and a devoted entourage that shadowed his every step. Yet within that golden bubble existed a tightly knit group of men who were more than just staff. They were family. They served as protectors, enablers, entertainers, and at times reluctant witnesses to the gradual breakdown of a legend.
Well, I don't like the word enablers, but yeah, they were. I do think Elvis treated them as family, brothers, best friends. Let's keep going. Obviously, we know that Elvis did karate with these guys. They were on the movie sets. They were extras in the movie set, and then obviously they accompanied him on the tours in the 70s. From 69 onwards, they were in Vegas.
This group was called the Memphis Mafia, a title that Elvis himself accepted with a playful wink and a smile. The name carried an air of danger, mystery, and coolness. However, for the men within it, including Red West, the reality was far from glamorous. Life in Elvis's inner circle was frequently chaotic, demanding, and unpredictable.
So Mary Loves EP, I just want to read your comment. Does it sound odd to you that Red took on several guys in the bathroom to save Elvis and they stopped because Red said so? Elvis just stood there doing nothing while Red saved the day. I'm not really, Mary, I'm not sure what you mean. Are we talking about when Elvis fell over and banged his head? Are you talking about that?
Red West was among the original members. Together with his cousins Sonny West, Joe Esposito, Jerry Schilling, and others, Red's daily life revolved around Elvis's moods, needs, and whims. If Elvis wished to watch movies until dawn, everyone remained awake. If he desired to fly to Denver in the dead of night for a peanut butter and banana sandwich, the plane was fueled and ready to go. If he wanted...
So, right, so Maria, are you talking about when Red defended Elvis, the bullying story? Is that what you're talking about? Because the story I've been told is that it wasn't actually in a bathroom. That's what it was in the Kurt Russell film. It says that, doesn't it? The story I was told is that Elvis was stood outside the school, and these boys, I think 3 of them, were going to jump him, and they were staring at Elvis. They were going to jump him, and Red West came along and stopped it happening. Yeah. So this is, tell me if I'm wrong, guys. I've heard that the Kurt Russell version of it, you know, the film Elvis, Kurt Russell's. Is it 78, 79 film? That isn't the bar. It's not. It never took place in the bathroom. Am I right or wrong, guys? Remember, I'm no expert.
Wanted a karate match in the backyard or a gospel sing-along in the living room, it occurred regardless of the hour.
Yeah, I don't even know if the cutting of the hair bit is true. Honestly, Marie, I don't know. I've heard some different versions now. Yeah, from people that were there. So. I'm no expert. I'm not a researcher. These are just things I was told, yeah?
Or location. Red reminisced that there was no set schedule. It was all about Elvis time. You adapted to his rhythm, sleeping when he slept, eating when he ate, and moving when he moved. The Memphis Mafia wasn't your typical hired help. Many were childhood friends, relatives, or close companions. Elvis preferred to surround himself with those he could trust, individuals who would see him as a person rather than a celebrity. This sense of familiarity fostered strong connections, but it also led to blurred boundaries.
So, yeah, Marie, I understand what you're saying, but remember, all of us are the same, aren't we? We've read the books, we've watched the movies, but I can't remember who it was. I'm trying to think. This was only last week. I got a feeling it might have been on a website, Elvis Australia, that there wasn't a cutting hair incident. They were going to jump him, and they were outside the school, yeah, and that's when Red stopped them. So, guys, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
They were more than just employees. They were friends, supporters, and caretakers all in one. Their responsibilities reflected the unpredictability of Elvis's moods.
So the other thing I read only last week, actually no, it was more than last week, it was a couple of months ago, that Red was a bit of a bully. That Red actually used to pick on a few people. He was a big lad, quite bad-tempered big lad, and that he actually gave Elvis a bit of grief. Before they became friends, Red was a bit heavy on Elvis. Yeah, I know that everything changed, they become friends, but these are just things that I get told, guys. I don't know if there's any truth to it. Let me know if I'm wrong.
Some managed logistics, while others took charge of security. Red West often found himself at the heart of the action, mediating between Elvis and overly enthusiastic fans, planning spontaneous road trips, and addressing minor issues before they escalated. When necessary, he took on the role of enforcer. If anyone crossed the line, it was Red who intervened. However, it wasn't solely about work. There were instances of genuine joy and camaraderie. Red reminisced about evenings filled with poker games, shared jokes, and music that echoed into the early hours. Elvis had a passion for entertaining, not just on stage, but also at home. He would reenact scenes from his beloved films, play pranks on his friends with intricate setups, and draw everyone into impromptu jam sessions. Red recalled.
So, yes, I mean, I do think, I'm not going to Google it now, I don't have enough time, but I do think Red does talk about that story. I'm pretty sure he does. Pretty sure. The thing is, I've got to go and get the kids in a minute, so I don't want to add to my workload. I'm trying to get through this video. I'm just reading your comments. I think Elvis was shy and wasn't as confident back then because Elvis was such a nice, placid person. Yeah, I mean, Linda, I would say that Elvis went from one extreme to the other. I would say, yes, he could be very shy and insecure and quiet and calm, but I also think he could be playful and energetic and a go-getter. Yeah, I think a spur of the moment person. Yeah, so I think he was a bit of both, Linda.
That Elvis despised solitude, and with them around, he never had to face it alone, though his mood frequently interchanged. What initially felt like a brotherhood gradually transformed into a fortress, one not built to protect Elvis from the outside world, but rather to shield him from himself.
So I'm reading your comments, guys. Hi, Margaret. So June said Red got in trouble with Elvis because Red was bedding underage girls. This is in June's book. Okay, now I will be honest with you. I don't trust any books. Honestly, I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying no books do I trust now except for Lisa's. Lisa Marie Presley's is the only book I trust. All of the others, I'm a bit unsure. They've all got agendas. They've all got some kind of tactic going on. You know, even Anita Wood's lovely book that her daughter wrote. There's bits in that book that I'm a bit uncomfortable with, but it's a lovely book. So I'm very careful. I read between the lines with all books concerning Elvis now.
The group that once anchored him slowly morphed into a buffer against reality. Unhealthy habits were ignored. Risky behaviors went unaddressed. While some, like Red, attempted to sound the alarm, their worries frequently fell on deaf ears or worse, were met with resistance. An unspoken rule lingered within the group: never challenge Elvis. He was kind-hearted yet sensitive, appreciative but fiercely proud. A suggestion made at an inopportune time could be interpreted as betrayal. Consequently, over the years, many in the inner circle learned to remain quiet, to comply, even when it pained them to witness.
So, Gunbrick, remind me your name, please. Welcome. Thank you for all your lovely comments on our YouTube channel. I heard Red say himself that he was kind of a bully, but he himself helped Elvis from being bullied at school when it was something cutting Elvis's hair. So the cutting Elvis's hair, guys, we need proof. I don't have time to dig it out. Tomorrow I'll try and find proof.
Red found himself in a challenging situation. He cherished Elvis like a brother, yet he recognized the warning signs that others overlooked.
So, Louis, something was straight as die, and it was the biggest defender ever. So Linda, you just write that word again. Lisa, yes, 100%. Lisa was the biggest defender of Elvis ever.
Growing reliance on medication, the unpredictable mood swings, the seclusion. There were times when Elvis would completely retreat, vanishing into his room for days, only to re-emerge when the world felt secure once more.
So I definitely agree with that, guys, that Lisa's book was not written for money. Riley didn't need the money. Riley did not need the money. If I would say Riley didn't even have time to write that book, but she did it. She did it for her mum.
And when he did, the performance continued. After all, the king had an audience to satisfy. Within Graceland, it was a realm, but it also felt like a prison. Elvis's stardom crafted a reality where conventional rules were irrelevant, financial issues were non-existent, time was a mere illusion. Everything centered around ensuring the star was content, healthy, and prepared to entertain. Yet, at times, the very efforts to shield him became the source of his distress. Nevertheless, Red remained. Through the lengthy tours, the grueling travel, the exhilarating highs and heartbreaking lows, he stayed by his side. Not for wealth, not for recognition, but because he felt he was among the few who genuinely understood Elvis and one of the rare individuals who still recognized the man behind the image.
So, I actually quite like this video. I'll tell you why. Not because I'm a big Red West fan, but I love all the footage, all the pictures. This is very pro Red West. Yeah, whoever made this wants to help make Red West look good. It's interesting. Let me just look at the name of the YouTube channel so I can tell you guys. It's called Vintage Vision. Vintage Vision. Let's tell them that we're reviewing it. I quite like it. That doesn't mean I'm agreeing with everything on it, because I don't agree with it, because I do think Red West betrayed Elvis in the end, yeah? But we are reviewing your video on our channel. Ching! Right, let's just put it on there. Right, let me just go. So I'm running out of time, guys. I don't think I'm not going to be able to play all of it. Let's go a little bit longer.
Red once commented that he was a good man. He acknowledged that the man was not perfect, but emphasized that he possessed a caring heart. Red noted that when this man opened up to someone and placed his trust in them, there was no one more devoted, generous, or pleasant to be with. However, that loyalty came with its own costs. Red and others frequently carried the emotional weight of witnessing Elvis's decline, helpless to alter the trajectory, trapped in a position where love sometimes required silence. Being part of Elvis's close-knit group provided access, certainly, but it also brought with it a sense of duty. It involved watching someone you cherished shine on the grandest stages, all the while being aware of the shadows that trailed him home. And
So Dan says George Klein also had told the story of Red and the Bullies. Yeah, we know about Red and the Bullies, but was the haircutting bit part of it? That's Dan, that's the bit we're trying to get to, yeah? I love George Klein, he's great, yeah? I just want to get that bit cleared up.
For Red West, those recollections filled with laughter, chaos, fatigue, and profound sorrow remained etched in his mind. Red West witnessed the most dazzling moments of Elvis Presley's life. The packed arenas, the ceaseless cheers, the exhilaration of crafting music that resonated with millions. Yet he also observed what many never saw. The dark...
So, Anna, hi Anna, I heard that Elvis had lawsuits because of the Memphis Mafia roughing up the fans too much. And does anyone know if this is true? I've heard it many times. Could be the reason they lost their jobs, yeah, and many other things. I would have thought that the reason Elvis's father fired them is there's more than one reason. There's probably many, many reasons. Yeah. Obviously, they were angry, bitter, upset. That, you know, the interviews are all there. You listen to Marty Lacker, Red and Sunny, talking about, you know, I think even, you know, all of the people that lost their jobs, they were pretty angry. And in that press conference they give when the book Elvis What Happened comes up, they look angry. They make excuses. They say, oh, we did it to help him, all that bullshit. But they were angry, guys. There was revenge at play. And they wanted money.
Dark side of Elvis Presley's life. Behind the curtain, Elvis was not merely contending with fame, he was grappling with his own inner struggles. And gradually the toll became evident. In the initial years, Elvis exuded an energy that felt Red West witnessed the most dazzling moments of Elvis Presley's life.
So, Dan, I'm going to disagree with you, mate. Yeah, because I think everything that we are told, there is a reason to doubt it. Honestly, guys, the Elvis world is so, like, upside down sometimes. I don't, in my opinion, I'm just a fan anyway. In my opinion, yes, Red defended Elvis from the bullies. I believe that. It's the cutting hair bit I'm a bit unsure about, guys. That's the bit not so sure. Of course, yeah, George Klein probably said it. Did he say the cutting hair bit? We need to go and find it, but not now because I don't have time. I'll have a look tomorrow, though, guys. I will have a look tomorrow. I told you I don't trust any books. I don't trust any interviews. I don't trust anything that is said. None of it. None of it. There's so many things that have been contradicted and proved wrong or exaggerated or twisted or just blatant lies. Come on, guys. Do you know what I mean? How many things are said in here that are total bullshit? How many things are said in here that have been exaggerated and twisted, you know? So be careful what you read, guys. Honestly, be careful. Let's have a look. Yeah, even if it's in tabloids, guys, you know, be careful. Obviously, I know Ness said about Red fighting with fans, you know. I heard that Red was a bit of a fighter, had a temper on him. He's a big man, massive hands. Someone that met him, I think it was Richie Boy, Memphis Flash Richie Boy. He's got a picture with Red West, and he told me that Red West had massive hands. So quite interesting.
The packed arenas, the ceaseless cheers, the exhilaration of crafting music that resonated with millions. Yet he also observed what many never saw. He could perform for hours on end, then spend the night watching television or riding motorcycles with his entourage. However, as time progressed, a change became apparent.
So Margaret says, why do you believe his interviews but not a book? Is that aimed at me? I don't believe any of it. Honestly, I don't believe interviews or books. I doubt all of it. Now, I'm not saying it's all wrong or all lies. I'm just saying I don't trust any of it. Seriously.
Ed started to pick up on the subtle indicators, sluggish movements, lapses in memory, emotional fluctuations. Then the medication entered the picture. It began innocently enough. Elvis struggled with insomnia, headaches, and overwhelming performance anxiety. Doctors, many eager to cater to the king, prescribed a cocktail of sleeping pills, pain relievers, and stimulants. Red commented that it was legal. He added that this made the situation worse, as the individual did not think he had a problem.
So let's read a couple of comments. George had Red as a guest in his shoes as they talked about the hair cutting in school. Okay, I'd love to see that. So then Mary says they were let go because of Elvis being sued because of the behavior of and other reasons. Yeah, I think there was a lot of reasons. Yeah. No, I've seen the interviews with George Klein and Red. I've seen them. I've watched them. Shuri, the other day I saw a post about Gladys. Yeah, I mean, that's a different topic, Emily. Nothing we think, no. So, Sorry, guys, my eyes are getting a bit squinty. Louis, then nothing we think and know could not be true about the Elvis world. It's both ways. So everything we read may not be true. Everything we read could be true. So we just do our best using our common sense as people that were not there to try and pick out the bits that we believe. I actually think it's a personal decision. I actually think that's one of the things I've learned, and that is, in the end, I decide what I believe. You decide what you believe. We had a discussion earlier with a fan that believed that Elvis is still alive. Yeah. I could bring up many topics, couldn't I? People have to believe what feels right for them. We don't know. We will never know. We were not there. Everything really, in the end, is a point of view and a discussion. That's all it can really be. Even the people that were there, we question what they say, don't we? Even the people that were there. Ex-wife Priscilla was there. Should we believe everything she says? Do you get it? Red West, Sonny West, Dave Hebner were there. Should we believe everything they say? We could even talk about this trash book. Billy Smith, Marty Lacker, Lamar Fike. They say the most disgusting things in interviews and in books and in tabloids and in magazines. Should we believe it? Is it true or is it a lie? That is the point. That's the Elvis world. That is the Elvis world. As irritating as it is, that is the reality.
Yet Red sensed that something was amiss. Elvis wasn't merely relying on the pills for sleep or to enhance his performances. He was using them as a means of escape from the pressure, the pain, and the daunting task of living up to the iconic status he had achieved. As time went on, Elvis's reliance on these substances became increasingly apparent. He would doze off mid-conversation.
There we are. Right, it's okay. Right, sorry guys, I'm trying to read that and listen to this. So Margaret says, "I am very discerning reader." Okay, I have a very, very analytical mind. I have cross-referenced into it, and I believe very few of his people. That is my point. Thank you, Margaret. Thank you. I feel the same way. I feel the same way. So Marie says, it's like the Smiths. They all want to point out Elvis's flaws, but never speak of their own or the rest of those people's flaws. I'm going to agree with you there. Bearing in mind, I don't want to talk about the Smiths tonight. I'm not in the mood because I always get attacked. But come on, Joe was 15 when Billy married her, probably 14 when he met her. So, but then in this same book, Elvis, it's written by Billy that Elvis liked minors. Get it, guys? I don't really want to talk about the Smiths tonight.
Words would become slurred. He would erupt in anger only to apologize moments later. The man who once illuminated spaces now bore a burden that seemed too heavy to lift. One of the most heart-wrenching aspects for Red was witnessing the transformation of Elvis's character. He grew increasingly suspicious, becoming less trusting even towards those who had stood by him for many years. Paranoia took hold. He felt as...
Right, okay. Now, Margaret, please don't try and tell me off, because I won't have it. Yeah. I'm being respectful to you. Be respectful to me. You're not going to pick up and tell me off. Please don't do that. Yeah? You know I love you, Margaret. Let's keep it respectful. So, Louis, you made a statement about George Klein's statement. Why quote it if you do not believe? It's very few had motivations and what you hear from interviews. It's what are in the books. Remember, this is Defending Elvis. Louis is the host, not Margaret. Louis. I love hearing different opinions. We can agree to disagree. We can have different opinions. Great, I love it. But I'm not here to be told off. Let's keep going, guys.
As though people were observing him, stealing from him, and conspiring against him. Red reminisced about nights when Elvis would obsessively check the locks, insist on sudden security checks, or accuse his staff of treachery without any proof. Red noted that he no longer trusted easily. He mentioned that there were times when even they were not trusted. One moment, they were seen as his brother, and the next, he would view them as a stranger. This paranoia was intensified by his isolation. Even though he was constantly surrounded by people, Elvis experienced a loneliness that only the truly famous can comprehend.
I mean, this footage, guys, I love this footage. It's just this footage alone that we're watching and the pictures makes this whole video worth watching. So Mary, hi Mary Love. Mary Loves EP. Are you new? Are you new to our channel? Mary Loves EP. Isn't it odd none of them call each other out? They all say horrible things about Elvis. Then they say what a right family they were. Lies, protecting lies. I agree with you. Marie Loves EP. I agree with that comment. Yeah, it's double standards. Double standards. Elvis deserves better. Let's have a look. So Linda, great. Linda says there has never been an underage girl that has ever said she had sex with Elvis. Never. I have never found one. Not even Priscilla. So I stand by that. Yeah. Obviously, the 50s was very different. So Billy Smith marrying a 15-year-old was a bit normal. I wouldn't say it was acceptable, but in the 50s, it happened. Now it would be really bad, really frowned on, which I agree with. Margaret, I'm not. It's okay, Margaret. Don't worry, Margaret. We just agree to disagree. Please don't worry. I love your comments, and you've really helped me. And I know that you're a proper researcher, Margaret. I fully respect you. I'm an adult. I'm 58. So I like to be spoke to like an adult. But you know I love you, Margaret. Right. Hi Amy, you're a bit late. We're finishing now. How you get Amy? How's Auntie Amy? How are you? The host with the most. Let's keep going, guys.
Couldn't stroll down the street, visit a diner, or engage with a stranger without being swarmed or scrutinized. Red noted that while fans perceived Elvis as larger than life, he often felt like a captive in his own realm. At Graceland, the curtains were perpetually drawn. The phones were under strict surveillance. Very few individuals outside the inner circle could reach him.
So I just want to say hello to Frederick. Frederick, how's Paphos? Bosbai Paphos. Isagala Bosbais. He's in Cyprus. I hope you're loving it, my friend. So who else joined us just now? Tammy. Hi, Tammy. How are you? Obviously, Amy's with us now. Hi, Cherie. How are you? Obviously, we got Martha here as well. Let's keep going, guys.
Recalled how Elvis would sometimes spend days without stepping out of his room. He'd just sit there in silence, watching TV, half awake, half somewhere else. We didn't know what to say anymore. The pressure to keep performing only worsened the situation. The world craved Elvis, the dynamic, charismatic figure of rock and roll. Yet the true individual behind that persona was utterly drained, physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
So Ness, hi Nessa. Please remember Nessa has a fantastic Defending Elvis Facebook page. Please join Nessa's Facebook page. It's brilliant. If any of you guys don't know it, yeah. So I wonder why Billy married Joe so young. I'm not going to read the other bit. Nessa, you're a bit cheeky, but I think in the 50s it's pretty normal. In the South, in Memphis, you get it what I mean, guys. The 50s, I think it wasn't unusual for girls to marry that young, 15, 16. I think it's quite normal. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with marrying a girl at 15. I think it's wrong. But it was normal in the 50s. In the 50s. You going out tonight? Yeah. I'm going to get the kids in a minute now. Sorry, my daughter's here.
Health was on a downward
Did I tell you I bought your turbo?
spiral, but the machine continued
I bought your turbo.
Yeah, no.
I got a turbo for my daughter's car.
to churn. Tours were planned, albums were anticipated, and Elvis, regardless of his condition, always agreed to participate. Red mentioned that Elvis never figured out how to say no, not
So, just to update Amy, this was only released a couple of days ago. I stored it and I just thought, let's listen to it. This does seem, the whole of this video I think is geared at making Red West look good. So I wonder why that was the topic. I wonder why this YouTube channel decided to make a video just to praise Red West. I'm not having a go at them. I'm just saying that's quite unusual to pick Red West. Yeah, I quite like it, and the reason I like it is because all the videos and pictures and footage is excellent. It's excellent. I don't agree with a lot of the things that are being said, but I quite like the video. Guys, do any of you like it? Do you like this video, guys?
To fans, not to promoters, nor to those urging him to persist. He didn't want to let anyone down. The repercussions of that yes-man mentality were catastrophic. Red frequently attempted to step in, first gently, then more assertively, but he was often brushed aside. Others in the inner circle were reluctant to disrupt the status quo.
Okay, so imagine the schedule. This is Amy. Imagine the schedule that he kept while not feeling well. He had to have time to regroup. They make it look like it's something odd. Guys, the last couple of years, come on. We all know he was sick and very overworked, and a very complicated couple of years as well. Many factors, you know, Ginger, the book. Sorry, wrong one. Elvis, What Happened, not Priscilla's book. The book, Elvis, What Happened. You know, the firing of the staff, and then you've got, you know, the conversation with Red West, and Dave Hebler sat there listening. So it was a tough year. He was sick and tired and couldn't sleep and serious health problems. You know, it was a crazy time, and he was doing sometimes 2-3 shows a day. Is that right? 2-3 shows a day, I heard sometimes.
Elvis was in charge. If he desired more pills, he received them. If he wanted to convince himself that everything was fine, everyone simply smiled and nodded in agreement. However, Red was different from the rest. He had known Elvis prior to his rise to fame, and he couldn't turn a blind eye to the changes he was witnessing. He observed his friend rapidly gain weight, lose his grip on reality, and become increasingly disconnected.
So, you know, I want to try and be fair. I do think Elvis gained weight, but actually, if you really study the pictures, if you really look, his face becomes very puffy. There's a strong chance it's a side effect of the prescription medications. Yeah, come on, we know, guys. Elvis abused the prescription medications. Was addicted to some of them, some serious side effects, which I do think affected the puffiness of his hands, his face. But actually, if you really look at his body properly, even on those last couple of concerts, he wasn't fat. He was not fat. If you look at the Hawaii the holiday pictures, he wasn't fat. A little bit of a tummy, which is pretty normal for a man in his 40s. But I do think the face definitely looked very different, very puffed up. I do think that. So let's keep going, guys.
Brilliance that once characterized Elvis had faded. Red noted that he was present, but not truly, like a shadow of his former self. On certain nights, Red would position himself just outside Elvis's door, listening intently, waiting, hoping for a call. Occasionally, he would hear one. Other times, silence prevailed.
So, you know, we don't know if that happened. You know, this is a narrative done by an artificial intelligent video, computer, PC, laptop. It's all auto-generated in it, guys. So a lot of this is bullshit. Let's face it. A lot of it's bullshit. But it's interesting. It's interesting. So Margaret says, I have questioned motivations of all those mafia people. The ones I found that did not display revenge, jealousy or greed and ignorance or situations are Larry Geller, Charlie Hodge and J.D. Sumner. I agree with that. Fully agree with that. Thank you, Margaret.
Yet Red remained nearby, understanding deep within that Elvis didn't truly wish to be alone, even if he struggled to express it. Red confessed that Elvis was frightened of death, frightened of losing everything, but above all, frightened of being forgotten.
I think we do keep hearing that Elvis was worried about being forgotten. Quite insecure at times, wasn't he? So Andrew, your daughter has come from St. Louis. Is it my daughter's boyfriend from St. Louis? Just arrived last night. First time in the UK. First roast dinner. Ah, right, yeah, in Wales. So he's having a roast dinner in Wales. just like Tom Jones did. You know that I'm only across the water from Wales. Tom Jones, Pontypridd, just over the water, yeah? Well, have a nice time, Andrew. You know, obviously, you know what it's like, dads with daughters. St. Louis. Isn't that where they did the famous crossing the water? Didn't they do that in St. Louis? They had to land in St. Louis. What was it called? Oh, tell me the film, guys. That famous transatlantic crossing from going to St. Louis. Yeah? Is that the one? Am I right? Have I got my history correct? Right. Elvis gets painted as a reclusive, weird that they get defended. Elvis carried them on all his back. They should be nothing but grateful for the life and opportunities he provided. I definitely agree with that. Oh, yes, I definitely agree with that. Let's press play.
Fear propelled Elvis to take drastic measures. He would insist on spontaneous concerts at unusual hours, instruct staff to completely redecorate sections of Graceland overnight, or abruptly choose to fly across the country without any apparent reason. Red recognized these actions weren't mere, they were distractions, desperate efforts to regain control over a life that had long since slipped from his grasp. One particularly haunting tale Red recounted involved Elvis's later years, during which he became fixated on numerology, ancient texts, and strange spiritual theories.
So a couple of, I'm trying to rush through a bit because I got to go, but yeah, Tammy, I don't think Elvis wanted to marry Priscilla. I really don't. What do I know? But I don't think he did. I think he was pressured. Then the other thing, the phone call with Red West, Elvis says that the wedding thing was railroaded. Yes, that wedding thing, we've all listened to it. Carolyn has just mentioned that she's listened to it multiple times. You do, because you get a real sense of Elvis. And Elvis didn't know that Red West and Dave Hebler were recording him. It's just shame on them both. But Elvis, through that phone call, is very forgiving and kind. And even, I think, my memory, at the end of the phone call, he says something like, if there's any way I can help you. That's how kind Elvis was. Forgiving to the end. Forgiving to the end. He was even like that with Mike Stone. Even with Mike Stone, at the end, Elvis wanted to forgive him. Yeah, so this is how amazing Elvis is.
Would immerse himself in books for hours, convinced that concealed meanings and codes contained the solutions to his anguish. Red remarked that Elvis was on a quest, for purpose, for tranquility, something greater than all of this. Yet, he never discovered it. In spite of the shadows, Red never ceased to see the individual he had once stood up for in a high school corridor. The boy who simply wanted to sing, to make his mother proud, to be cherished. He was still there, Red stated, buried beneath all the stress and suffering. But he was there. The fallout. In the summer of 1976, Red West faced a devastating turn of events. After nearly 20 years of steadfast dedication, through tours, crises, and personal sacrifices, he was abruptly and unceremoniously dismissed from Elvis Presley's close-knit circle. The news didn't come directly from Elvis. Instead, it was relayed through intermediaries. It was cold, formal, and devoid of any explanation, just a finality. For Red, this was more than just losing a job. It was the destruction of a bond he believed to be unbreakable. He had stood by Elvis before the fame, before the gates of the mansion, and before the roaring crowd.
Sorry about that. Yeah, well, that's good news. I mean, she's going to bring the kids to me. That's good. It just gives me that extra 10 minutes, yeah?
He had fought for him, bled for him, and shielded him not only from physical dangers, but also from emotional breakdowns. And now, he found himself cast aside. Red was not alone in this upheaval. Sonny West, his cousin, and bodyguard David Hebler were also dismissed. The formal explanation pointed to budget reductions, but whispers within Graceland suggested deeper issues. Red had become too vocal, too confrontational regarding Elvis's health, and unwilling to contribute to the defeat.
Well, not just Red, there was it. It wasn't just Red, but I think a few of them did speak up. I mean, come on, guys. They worried about Elvis. I know, obviously, they loved the money, the partying, the girls, you know, the drugs, the booze. But come on, they were worried. Let's not beat about the bush. Elvis wasn't looking well the last couple of years. I want to be fair when we discuss the Memphis Mafia. I want to be fair. I don't want to be too one-sided like a hater. I don't want to be a hater. I want to be fair. I still, in my heart, feel they betrayed him. I really do believe they let him down, betrayed his trust. Yeah, for money, for greed, for revenge. I do believe that, but I also think spending decades with Elvis, protecting Elvis for decades, being Elvis's friend, it was very complicated. Very complicated. Elvis was a full-on person. You know, he had his ways. You know, he could be difficult. So I want to, you know, try and be open-minded to everything. That's just how I feel, guys.
That might have been the core issue. Red had always been open about his worries regarding Elvis's escalating substance use, his unpredictable actions, and how those in his circle persisted in spreading the false story instead of confronting the reality of the man.
Right, so Tammy, I never understood how they could betray Elvis like they did. He gave them everything. I fully agree. There's no way they should have betrayed him. But I also do think we have to be open-minded and try and get all the facts, the good and the bad. There is two sides to the story. I say the same with Priscilla. I say the same with Billy Smith and Joe Smith. From their point of view, they have their reasons. Yeah. So I try and get a rounded picture. But these people definitely betrayed Elvis.
He faced Elvis head-on multiple times, something that most would shy away from. Red wasn't acting out of rebellion. He was acting as a true friend. Yet in the fragile environment of Presley's inner circle, even genuine affection could be misconstrued as betrayal. Red would later reflect that he shared the truth with him, and perhaps he wasn't ready to hear it. The emotional repercussions were profound.
And I've seen these interviews. I've seen these interviews, not just from Red, from Sonny, from Dave Hebler, where they're trying to say, oh, we tried to tell Elvis. We tried, you know, but he wouldn't listen. I've seen the interviews, yeah? Let's not ignore the fact that Elvis was becoming very sick and unwell and was taking too many prescription medications. It happened. We're not going to get away from it, yeah? These medications, of course, had very strong side effects and affected his health deeply. You know, that must have been pretty scary for these guys to be around him. He's the boss. No one could tell Elvis what to do, but they were roughing the people up. It does sound like they were also going after the drug dealers, you know, the people trying to bring in the heavy pills. So it was a complicated situation, guys, but there's still no excuse. There is no excuse to do this book, because Elvis was a friend, and with some of them had been a friend for decades, or, you know, grew up with Elvis. And that is why there's no excuse. Friends don't betray friends, especially a famous man like Elvis, yeah, for money, for money.
Red had centered his life around Elvis, organized his daily routine around his needs, delayed his own dreams to stay close. Being cast aside without a proper farewell or explanation left a scar deeper than many understood. However, the story didn't conclude there.
So, Margaret, with your psychoanalyze, I just love it. Not when channels try to psychoanalyze Elvis' motivations when they never spent 1 minute with him. That's so unfair. That is so unfair. Now, Margaret, you're being pretty cheeky tonight, right? I'm going to respond to that comment. How many of us here on this channel, including Amy, Auntie Amy, yeah, who's a massive researcher, yeah, psychoanalyze Elvis, including yourself, yeah? Obviously, they're, you know, you may not be talking about me, you may be talking about the YouTube video, yeah? How they're trying to psychoanalyze him, yeah? But guys, we're all just guessing, aren't we? We're all just putting our thoughts together, and we're all just trying to find our way through the fog and get a feel for Elvis. A feel for Elvis. None of us will ever truthfully, honestly be able to say what Elvis was like, because we didn't grow up with him. That's one thing the Smiths do have. When we talk about the Smiths or the Step Brothers, Ricky, Dave and Billy, you know, the people that are alive now, you know, even Priscilla, I don't even like to admit that, ex-girlfriends, you know, Linda, Ginger, they were with him. They were with him, yeah? So even Dave Hebber a little bit, even though he was only around for 2 or 3 years. None of us will ever know, will we? We're just fans stabbing in the dark. Let's keep going, guys.
Bewildered and feeling powerless as he observed Elvis's declining health and troubling behavior, Red made a crucial choice. He decided to help write a book. Not just any book, but the first candid, unvarnished story of what life truly entailed within the Presley dynasty. Its title was straightforward and shocking: Elvis, What Happened? Co-authored by Red West, Sonny West, and David Hebler, the book aimed to reveal the reality behind the king of rock and roll. They maintained it wasn't a smear campaign, it was a heartfelt appeal, a cautionary tale, a love letter disguised as a wake-up call. They hoped that by laying bare the truth, they could spur Elvis and those who supported him into taking action. But that's not how it was received.
It's bullshit. Any excuse they make for writing that book, in my opinion, is bullshit. Amy says J.D. Summers' book, Elvis couldn't find them on tour and they weren't doing their jobs they were paid to do. So, of course, Elvis would lose his temper. He's the boss. He's the boss. Sometimes he pissed them off. I mean, sometimes they pissed him off. I'm sure they pissed each other off. Yeah. Men, come on, alpha males. They're going to piss each other off. So the phone call with Arlene Cogan. I don't know nothing about that. That needs to be for a separate topic. I know nothing about that phone call. Everyone made mistakes. It's just all blown out of proportion. Yep. Sure, in the Elvis world, it definitely is.
When news of the book leaked, Graceland exploded. The Presley camp condemned it as betrayal. Fans, outraged and heartbroken, flooded the authors with hate mail. Red was branded a traitor, a sellout, a bitter ex-friend trying to cash in on pain. In the public eye, the timing looked terrible. Elvis, What Happened? Was released on August 1st, 1997. Just 2 weeks later, Elvis...
Right, before we do the last little bit, let's read a couple of comments. So, guys, I'm going in a minute, but thank you for everyone joining me. Thank you for joining me. Please don't take it personally when we agree to disagree. You know, anyone that I've disagreed with, please don't take it personally. It's just Louis waffling. You guys are giving me your information, your research, which I do appreciate. I love you guys joining my channel and joining in. I appreciate every single comment, even if I disagree. It means a lot to me. This is how we learn. Yeah. You know, I'm not a researcher, so I need to be taught. I need you guys giving me information, definitely. So I believe as much as greed, the Mafia and Red were so jealous of Elvis and wanted to hurt his legacy. This is one way a person elevates himself, by stepping on others, such as Elvis, a universal thing. I think that's well said. Well said, Margaret. That is what they did. That they wanted to expose him, to embarrass him, to humiliate him, to ruin his career. They were all out, and they wanted to make money. They wanted money, cash. So, great comment, Margaret. A great way to end the show. Yeah, Emily, go listen to the... Oh, we're talking about this other phone call that Amy mentioned. Right, sorry. Let's have a look. Sorry if I've missed anyone's comments. We know where she was trying to go with it, but he was still nice to her. Okay. So Tammy, Louis, I'm sorry, but they didn't need to let the public know about Elvis's private life. They didn't need to write the book. I agree. Remember, I'm completely against that book. I'm completely against friends or family or ex-girlfriends or ex-wife or the Memphis Mafia, ex-staff trashing Elvis. I'm completely against it. Right. You take care, Jane. Hope you're well.
Past OM. The headlines were brutal. Elvis betrayed by his closest friends. Tell-all book drops, then the king dies. It didn't matter that the manuscript had been completed before his death. It didn't matter that Red had once risked his life for Elvis. In that moment, perception became reality. And Red West became the man who aired Elvis's secrets to the world right before the world lost him. But for Red, it wasn't about profit or payback. It was about heartbreak. He mentioned years later that they had attempted everything else. They had tried talking to him and to those around him, but nothing was effective.
But they never said sorry. So a couple of people had told me Sonny said sorry. I have never found proof of Sonny saying sorry. I know he became very sick and his wife did. I've never, ever heard any of them say sorry or show regret. None of them. Never. None of them. Even Billy and Joe. Never heard apologies. Ever. So I need to rush through this. So all we can do, Amy says, is take the information there and put it together. Emily, they were all guilty of everything they accused Elvis of. In the end, it was all about revenge. Yeah. I agree with the book. Definitely. In my opinion, the same as Billy talking about Elvis' most intimate private life. I never read that book. I never will. I've never heard a lot as it is. If we're talking about this book, don't read it. Don't read it. Honestly, guys, you don't want to read that book. It's disgusting. Let's have a look. So, Carolyn, we know Elvis through his actions. He did so much good in the world. He sure did. He sure did. Great comment, Carolyn. He changed the world. He helped everyone around him, even complete strangers. That's Elvis for you. Not the book made Elvis worse. He was so hurt. Yes. Of course it hurt him. Of course it upset. If it happened to me, guys, I would have been so gutted if my own friends that I grew up with betrayed me. Well, actually, that's a long story. A couple of old friends did do that to me, but that's for another day. Okay, we're getting there. We make statements of opinions. We do not say why Elvis took plane rides for no reason. Like the commentator, we would state that he took plane rides without saying that he was trying to soothe himself. Yeah, guys, I understand. There's a lot of negative crap said by the families, by the Memphis Mafia, by the ex-girlfriends, by the ex-wives, by the people closest to Elvis. The people closest to Elvis betrayed him. Again and again and again and again. Elvis would be horrified. Elvis would be horrified. And there's nothing he can do about it, but we as fans do our best to defend him.
Therefore, they resorted to the only option they had remaining. They decided to tell the truth. The book was raw and unsparing. It detailed the substance use, the violent outbursts, the isolation, and the fear. It painted a portrait.
So Karen says, I believe the book was written to try and help Elvis. That's ridiculous. They were bitter.
Portrait of a man trapped in a prison of fame. But it also showed Elvis's kindness, his generosity.
So, I don't forgive anyone who betrayed Elvis. That's just my nature. That's just my nature. I really believe in forgiveness. It's just who I am. And I actually believe Elvis would forgive as well. Not on the Lisa Marie, Michael Edwards bit. There's no way that Elvis would forgive that. But all the other stuff, I think he'd forgive. I really do.
His deep insecurity and spiritual searching. It was, in many ways, the most human portrait of Elvis ever written. And perhaps that's why it hurt so many people.
So, Carolyn says the book contributed to his death. I think many people feel that way. It was one of the things, wasn't it, guys?
Stripped away the iconography and showed the broken man underneath. Red never apologized for writing it.
Thanks, Margaret. You take care. Love you. Thank you for your comments. Excellent comments.
He carried the consequences for the rest of his life. He lost friends. His reputation took a hit. And perhaps most painful of all, he never got the closure he needed from Elvis himself. They never spoke again after the firing. The man Red considered his brother died without reconciliation. Red expressed that he would have done anything to save him. He emphasized that
nah, I'm not falling for it. I've heard all the bullshit from Red West, Dave Hepler, and Sonny. It's all crap. So, Cheryl B., I refuse to read the trash. I read Sonny's book. He may have regretted it, but didn't publicly say anything. I love, Louis, how you say the word bullshit. Thanks, Cheryl.
He would do anything. stating that the book was the final option they had left. Decades later, as time softened public judgment and more honest stories about Elvis's life began to surface, many came to see Elvis. What happened? Not as an attack, but as a tragic act of love.
No. I've I've discussed the Elvis What Happened book with so many people, and every now and then you do get the people that really want to defend the book. You'll be surprised. Now, I have to respect people's right to try and defend the book, to try and blame Vernon and blame Elvis for them losing their jobs and leaving them homeless and penniless and foodless and their lives were over. It's bullshit. All of these people were very employable. They were very young. They had very good careers as security guards, looking after the most famous man in the world. Every one of them could have got jobs. Every one of them. Yeah. So I'm not falling for the bullshit that because they lost their jobs, they were homeless. I don't fall for it. It's crap. So let's keep going. We've got a couple of minutes left.
A perfect attempt to tell the truth before it was too late, Dot. And tragically, it was too late. Looking back, Red never claimed to be a hero. He admitted his own faults, his own moments of silence and...
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. I think I might have heard him once say that Did he once say that he wished he spoke up more? Did he once do that? So Tammy says, I understand Elvis was forgiving, but I love Elvis so much I can't forgive them. I can't tell you guys how to be. I don't have any hate in me. Yeah. I don't have any anger in me. I'm very soft and squidgy. Yeah. So I'm firm, I'm stern, I speak my mind, I stand my ground. Yeah. I'm very strong-minded. But in here, I'm jelly. I'm jelly. So I have to forgive. I have to forgive. I have to. And Elvis is like that, isn't he? Elvis is like that. Elvis is much nicer than me. Yeah. Elvis was a heart of gold, wasn't he? A heart of gold. So he would forgive. Obviously not the Michael Edwards bit. That's the only bit that I would say there's no way Elvis would forgive that. The alleged abuse of Lisa with Michael Edwards. He would never forgive that. I will say that. It was too much. Hi, Teresa. Elvis is the best. Nobody could ever touch Elvis. He was a one-of-a-kind, sweet, loving, caring, compassionate, giving man. Spot on. Hi, Kate. Are you late? Kate, are you late? Kate, we must dig in deep and find a way to forgive. We have to. We have to. Elvis would want us to. Honestly, Elvis would want us to. I think he'd want us to defend him, but I also think he'd want us to be kind.
Complicity. But he also made one thing clear. He never stopped caring. Not on the first day of guarding Elvis. Not on the day he was fired. Not even when the book caused a storm that nearly drowned him. Red stated that even though the world loved Elvis, they knew him. They saw the pain, the doubt, the fear. They saw it when no one else did. And they couldn't just sit back and watch him die. It wasn't betrayal. And
right, so a couple of comments. I didn't say not to read Lisa's book. I love Lisa's book, but it's heartbreaking. I was talking about Elvis, What Happened. Yeah, a lot of people can't read that book. I've heard it many times. But believe it or not, guys, I've read quite a lot of this book, and it's free on audio on YouTube. A lot of this book is actually very good. There's some lovely stories in this book. But that chapter that tears Elvis apart, no. So to me, it's more of a prop, but I will read bits of it. I will read bits of that book. The good bits.
Though it came too late to save Elvis, Red West's choice to speak out eventually opened the door for a deeper, more honest understanding of the man behind the myth. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.
Very interesting. I disagree with a lot of it, but very interesting. Yeah, I'm definitely glad I've played it. A lot of you may have missed the first half because a lot of you joined later. So let's have a look. They wanted to save him. They went about it the wrong way. I actually don't think they wanted to save him. I think they were too angry. Too angry. I honestly, in my heart, I do think they all regretted it. I even think deep down, as arrogant and stubborn as Dave Hebner is, I think deep down he regrets it as well. They make excuses. That generation are very stubborn. Come on, let's face it, guys. Men growing up in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, very stubborn. Very stubborn. Deep down, they loved Elvis. They loved him. They regretted it. I honestly believe that. Let's have a look. Linda, that's all we can do is defend Elvis against the wrongs and share the greatness that was the true Elvis. Yeah, of course, the book made him more sick. I think that's true. Linda, it was revenge. They were still young. They could have got a job. Oh yeah, they definitely could have got a job, Tammy. I don't fall for that. You know, I don't fall for it when they say that. It's crap. Yeah, they were too used to relying on Elvis. Yeah, people save money. I understand that, Anna. It's not fair to pin it all on Elvis. Okay, guys. So we're coming to the end now. I really do have to go. At the end of the day, Elvis was a human being. Everyone let him down. How I wish Gladys was there for him. Well said, Emily. Elvis's worst fear was his fans believing all the lies. I'm not an unkind person, Louis, but there's only so much one can take, and I believe Elvis would have got there as well because he is only human, just how I feel. Kate, that's, you know, I'm not telling people how to be. I don't for a second think you're not unkind. I've just, you know, I'm not going to sit here and tell you my life story. I've had a very complicated life. I've come to a point in my life where I have to be no hate and not angry and very forgiving. Yeah. And never take things too personally. Yeah. At least if I am going to take something personally, 10 minutes later, let it go. So it's just me. It's just how I am. Yeah, we love Elvis, Teresa. Elvis believe he understand if he couldn't forgive them. Elvis had a heart of gold, but all my life I've defended Elvis. Tammy, be proud. Be proud, Tammy. I can't say that I've defended Elvis my whole life because I haven't. Yeah, defending Elvis for me is a new thing. I've always loved Elvis. I've always loved Lisa Marie. But I haven't defended Elvis my whole life. Many fans have. Many fans have spent their lives defending Elvis. Many fans. Which is why it drives me mad that all these fans are supporting. I don't want to talk about it, but all these fans that are kissing the arse of these people, I don't understand it. Don't understand it. They're supposed to be Elvis fans. Doesn't make any sense, guys. Doesn't make any sense. I will never understand it. I will never understand the support that is being given to things like this. Never. Never, 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 never. All the King's Men, True Hollywood. I'll never get it. My brain can't absorb it. It's like, you're Elvis fans. You're supposed to be Elvis fans. You've now become the cousin fan. Yeah, get it? It's bizarre. Pretty nuts. And I'll never understand why these people won't say sorry. It doesn't make sense. I'll never understand why these people keep telling trash stories. I don't get it. I don't get it. Oh, well. I got to go, guys. Louis, you're your own person, and that's good. But others just can't get past this betrayal. And some of us are struggling to forgive them, especially when they show no remorse. I think probably, thanks, Linda, I think probably the majority of you feel that way. I just am not like that. It's not how I'm wired. It's just not me. That's why it's so hard for me to forgive knowing Elvis was so hurt. It hurts me. I get it. It hurts me as well, guys. It infuriates me. You've seen it on my my live streams, on my videos, I get very passionate. I'm like, but then I calm down and I forgive. Teresa, Elvis is my rock. I love that. It really doesn't make any sense. No, it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. You're either a fan or you're not. Unfortunately, these people, it's almost like a betrayal to Elvis. So you've literally got thousands of people that are supporting these people that have trashed him, still trashing him, that stand by the trashing of the last 30 years. And then they're attacking us, telling us we're haters and we attacked them and that we're bullies. But we support Elvis. They support someone else. En Gadalavo. Emily, En Gadalavo. That's Greek for I don't understand. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me. All of you, great. Really enjoyed this live. Really, really, seriously, this was a fantastic live. Great comments, as usual. Team Elvis, you rock. Team Elvis, taking care of business. Amy, we always love it when you join us. Auntie Amy, always love it. All of you, guys, you lot are becoming like researchers. You're so knowledgeable. All of you are so knowledgeable. It's amazing. Take care, guys. Love you all. Take care. We don't have to agree